Today we're dealing with a Maytag stove, specifically the oven. Last night when we were trying to bake something, we heard a loud pop coming from the oven, and we weren't sure what it was. This is a Maytag, I always forget the model. It's over here. That's the model right there, Maytag. So we heard a loud pop. I removed the racks here, pulled up the two screws in the rear. Let's pull them up now. Now remove this to show. This pops up from the back, slides, and it comes out. And the heating element is on the bottom. As you can see, it's uniform all around. And then when you reach here, you see that burnt right there. So that was the pop we heard. This no longer heats up as it should. Let's say you put it 350 temperature, it will take a very long time, over an hour, to get you 350 instead of the usual 10-15 minutes. So we're going to order a new heating element, and hopefully it'll be here soon, so that way we can replace that. The top one looks okay. I checked all the edges. They're all uniform. And it is now 3 days later. We just received the replacement part. Here's the part number. I'll also leave a link below. It looks like this protrudes into the back of the stove. Let's go back to the stove, see how this gets installed, removed. So it looks to be a single screw in the back and a screw in the front. Let's go ahead and remove those two screws. And after removing those two screws, we have to go to the back of the stove and unplug the two connectors to the heating element. And as you can see, the stove is hardwired to the house. In our case, for example, here we have to remove this aluminum back cover that's covering the connections on those two screws. But always be safe, so let's make sure we power off or turn off the circuit breaker to this stove before we do anything. And we're here at the electrical panel. Let's search for that stove circuit breaker and trip that off. That's the first one. Great. Turn it off. Let's go back upstairs and take care of that stove. Now we'll remove these two Phillips screws and slide this aluminum cover down. And this will expose the electrical connections to the power and also to the heating element. The heating element is hidden behind all that fluff, the insulation. So as you see, it's a little loose because we unscrewed it from the front already. So all we have to do is remove those connectors from the heating element and swap it out. But before we remove anything, let's mark one of the sides, left or right, whichever one you choose. As long as one of them is marked, you know where to plug it back into, since both of them are red in this case. So we'll mark our right side connection, and then we'll know where to connect when it's time to reinstall the new one. Now that's already marked, we'll simply pull out the connectors and leave them hanging there until we remove the old element and reinstall the new element. Very simple, it pops right out. if you're having a little bit of difficulties, you can always use a pair of pliers to pull those out. And we'll go to the front now, make sure the element gets pulled out and is not stuck anywhere else. And let's put the old broken one on top of the new one just to compare sizes, make sure it's the right fit. Hopefully it is. Yep, looks pretty good. Screws on the same spot. It looks the same length and shape. Let's insert the new one now. And once it's inserted here, we'll fish it out from the insulation in the back and reconnect those wires. As you can see here, the new element seems a little bit lower in height than the old one was. I'm a little concerned it's going to start heating up that plastic piece where the electrical connectors are attached to. So once we have it all screwed in, we'll try to slightly bend that element up just to keep it away from the bottom part, so that way it's not touching any of those parts. I know that's going to get hot and we don't want any of those parts to melt. As you can see, it's very, very close to the bottom. So let's connect in the front first. Yeah, we'll put in the screws in the front, make sure it's stable in the front, and then we'll do a little bending on the back connector. And now that the front is stable, here you see that I bent those two connectors up to give it a small gap between the bottom and those elements. So that way there's no concern about melting the plastic piece on the bottom. Now make sure you fluff out the insulation so it's covering all around your element. And to reinsert the back cover, you insert on the slits and slide up to lock it in place. After that's locked in place, just screw the two screws on the bottom and we're ready to test. And here we are. I pushed the stove back into its place. I also turned on the circuit breaker. And as a last thing to do before you test, remove the label from the element, otherwise that's going to burn up. It's not a fun thing to do. Turn on your oven and let's wait. It should quickly reach the right temperature. And after a few minutes, I did speed up the video there to save time. This, as you can see, is pretty hot now and is reaching its right temperature. Here is again the model number. Again, it was purchased from Amazon. I'll leave a link below. And now all that's left to do is put the bottom cover back on, tighten the bottom two screws in the back, put your racks back in, and you're ready to go. And all done. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.